לעשות לך בית ספר לתת שירות.
נכון, כל דבר אתה רואה חיצוני.
זאת אומרת, אני לבד מהישיבה הראש של הספם לא יהיה קצת עם הישיבה. הוא יודע מי אני, שאני בא, מנקה, אני עושה את הדברים, אין לי כוח להתעסק. אז מה לעשות עכשיו?
לדחוף אותו ללמוד בישיבה.
כן, אמרתי לו.
כמה הוא? אותו סיפור. שמוגעים או משל עצמם. עד שאתה לא מקבל עוד 5, 10, עד שאתה לא מקבל 5 או 10 בחורים צעירים, אתה לא מקבל 5, אתה עושה מאמץ. עושה מאמץ עוד 5 צעירים. מה?
זה נהיה כדור שלג, כי הוא מתחיל בגיוסים וזה.
זה תמיד הבעיה של כל ישיבה, אבל צריך לדחוף. צריך לפחד מזה. אוקיי, בסייעתא דשמיא. I'm going over again. Siman Aleph. I want to go a little bit slowly. And Bezrat Hashem, I want to see the Ritvo inside, the Ritvo and Dafon. Let's go over again.
You got tomorrow.
אוקיי. הרמב"ם בפרק א' בהלכות נזירוס הלכה אבז אל השומר. משה יוחנן ברוך הבא. Did you get engaged? And it fell off and still on? I'm asking because somebody called me yesterday for shidduch for you. So I said, I remembered you got engaged. I know you want to get engaged. But reality happened, didn't happen.
I did the RC.
What?
I did the RC.
So it's continue on or not? Forget about it. It's on or off. So it's on to get married. Baruch Hashem. Yeah. No, somebody called me last night for you. Ora Sadin, this Rebbetzin Sadin, she called me for you. Okay. הרמב"ם פרק א' מלכות נזירוס על המחיה וזה לשון. אין אומרים בנזירוס we don't say בנזירוס עד שיוצא בספוסו, until it comes out of your mouth, lips. דוב or something שמשמעו, that the meaning of comes out of your mouth, the meaning of what comes out of your mouth, it's a call on by whole the nation, like the subject in your heart. Which means I don't need by Nazirus to have words in my mouth, that my heart should be equal to the words of my mouth. What? Yes. Oh, why are you sitting on the side? Come close. Come close. Come close. Closer. Oh, that's what I like. Baruch Hashem. Good. I don't say Nazirus. Until comes out of your lips. Dov or something. That the meaning by all the nation. Like the subject in his heart. Which means I don't need words. Because Nazirus, it says levata bisvosayim, has to be defined with your lips, has to be expressed with your lips. So I don't need to be expressed in his lips something which everybody understand the same way what my heart means. I don't need words. There will be a clear, crystal words that the people understand through those words what is in my heart, like the subject of my heart. Or rather. Since was concluded in your heart, A, and you took out of your lips something which the subject it is that you will be a Nazarite. Even though the subject is a far out subject, which means from the words itself, to connect to the Nazir, it's a far out. Even though those words don't have the meaning which the nation understands, the simple meaning of the nation. Okay, we're going to see. That's his whole piece, but it's not what we're going to learn. He says, Kol Am. Even though it's a subject and doesn't have the mashmos and language of Nazirus, Areyu Nozir is a Nozir. Kate and how? Areyu Nozir of a Nozir passes to the front of it. Ve'omar he says that will be. Arei is a Nozir is a Nazarite. Oil since ubelibo hoyo in his heart was Shehiyah that will be Kemozer like this guy. That way, that's what he had in his heart. The first one on the top. I'm standing Aleph. The first one on the top. We learned it yesterday halfway. We stopped in the middle. So I'm going over it again. I'm not starting now. I'm already in the middle. In the middle of towards the left, the first paragraph, the 2 lines before the end. You have it? Are you showing it? Yeah. He's a Nozir because in his heart he had the intention or the meaning that it would be like this guy. This guy's a Nazarite. Even though he didn't specify, he didn't specify and said, I will be like this guy. He didn't say I will be like this guy. He said I will be. and the guy passed by, I will be. So I concluded in my heart to be like him, and I said a word that doesn't have the simple meaning in the language that I will be like him. So I didn't express that. That's what I decided in my heart. So since in his heart was that I will be like him, even though I didn't say words, which are clarified words, I don't need by a Nazarite levapte bisfotayim to express on my lips something which that the language everybody understands what I mean in my heart. As long as I mean in my heart what I mean, and I said words that you could explain what I mean, even though it's a rochoik, it's a far out explanation, and it doesn't have the mashmos of the language of the zirus, still I'm a Nazir. The question is why the Rambam needs to speak so much, and why in any other places which we have the same dinim, the Rambam doesn't speak so much. The tzarich biur needs an explanation. I'm reading now the second paragraph. Second paragraph from the top. The tzarich biur. Now you should imagine the Birkas Shmuel is opening the Masechet Kiddushin with this. See, you talk about the zirus, even though we talk about Kiddushin. Because the Birkas will understand that this is the fundamental. Through this, we're able to define what is exactly is the kinyan of Kiddushin. Okay? Let's see. The tzorich biur needs a clarification. Ma'u kavanosoi barichus dvoro. What is the intention of the Rambam in his length of his words? V'im la'ashmeinu din yodois. If the Rambam just wants to teach us what is the concept of yad, that means I have part of language, like a handle for a vessel. The handle is not the vessel, it just holds the vessel. So also by language, you have a handle of a language that contains through that, it holds the whole language. But it's not a full language. See, if he wants to teach us the concept of yodois, handles, he should have informed us in short. Like he wrote the same law by Nedorim. Nedorim was also din yad. Here there's a din yad. So why here in the zirus suddenly the Rambam starts talking 5 lines, goes over and over, right? Looks like he's going repeating. What's going on? First, ve'oid and more. So you need to be exact. Ma'u kavanoso, what is the intention of the Rambam? Be'omroi, when he says, Ein oimri benazirus, we don't say by nazirus. We don't say. You don't say you need a language everybody understands my heart. That you don't say. What do you have to tell me what you don't say? You don't say A, you say B. The concept of yad, that part of a language, a hint of a language works, also exists in Kiddushin. Rabbi. We're going to explain later on the expansion of my Rabbi, Reb Chaim Halevi. Sharamam Soiber, the Rambam holds the halacha, the Yesh Kiddushin, all the Gemara has a suffix. Gemara in the Dorim, and yes, the Gemara asks, Yipoilu, Yesh Yad the Kiddushin, Ein Al Kiddushin. So it's a suffix, but it says, no, the Rambam holds the halacha, the Yesh Al Kiddushin. There is Yad Kiddushin, like the way my Rabbi explained the Rambam. In Ken, the question comes back, Ma Oitzi Michlal Dvorov, what did he took out from the general rule by Nedorim and Kiddushin? What's special by Nazirus that he has to express? And he says, I don't need a language that everybody understands. Rather, since I decided in my heart, and I said a statement which includes in it very far out, Nazirus, and there's no mashmos in the language of Nazirus, yet I'm a Nazir. What do you have to come? What he wants to push special by Nazirus to say, I don't need a language everybody understands what's in the heart. To understand the specialty of Nazirus or the difference of Nazirus between Kiddushin and Nedorim. And it'll start going in depths. What is Kiddushin about? And this piece makes order in Nedorim and Nazirus and Kiddushin.
Why has to say that in the not Kiddushin,
but if I say Dover v'Hifuch, I understand better what is the Hifuchoi. His goal is Masechet Kiddushin. That's what we're learning here. So we want to know the definition of Kiddushin. Now he's going to start to explain what's the concept. Because the Zirus also needs Levata B'Sfosayim, needs to define, to express in your lips. Yes? Soon he's going to say that Kiddushin has a special dina. You need Levata B'Sfosayim. You need a language to deduct. Mitzad Kiyikach, you need a language to deduct the Maseches Kesef, the king and Kesef. And the Dibu and the expression of your mouth is part of the Maseches Kinyan. She should be similar than the Zirus, right? He says, no, I don't need that. It's different. We have to know what is Kiddush. What is it? Okay. Venagdim. First, we're going to bring first Divrei Moire V'Rabbi Agoyna Amiti. I'm going to bring the words of my Rabbi, the true genius, Achosid Rosh Behag, who is Rosh Shel Bnei Agoylo, the head of all the exiled Jews. Ziyah Zechuso Yogan Leinu Amen. His merit will protect us. What is Rabbi said? The Gemara in Nedorim, page 6b, the Gemara has a doubt. Im yesh lekiddushin or loy. By Kiddushin, there's a concept of yad or not. Umuki, and the Gemara puts up the doubt. Going, for example, you are engaged to me. He told her friend that was standing there, that and you. He didn't say that nami, you also, and you. Mi amrin and nami, do we say that means you also? He told her friend. And Kiddushin will attach to her friend, because when he say Arem Kodeshesli and you, he didn't say you also and you means and you also. Or Dilmo, maybe that what does it mean in you? Chazo, you would watch. That's what he told her friend. The Kiddushin will not grab by a friend. This is the case there. Comes the Chaim Alini asks the question. Es my mor zia. Mor means mori v'Rabbi. Rabbi zia is chusto yomin. Protect us. Ma tzrichin anu ledin loshon. Why do we need the law of lingua, language? Kabei Kiddushin, reference to Kiddushin. You have a question. When I said the word and you, but I'm missing the word and you also. Do we fill up the you also, the also, do we fill it up or not? Or we say, no, maybe it doesn't mean also, maybe it means something else. Comes Reb Chaim Alevi, says, okay, from the language it's not clear. What I meant, you also, are you also getting engaged, or you going to watch? But the Reb Chaim Alevi says, but what do we need to come on ledin for the law of Loshen Gabe Kiddushin? Why do we need a language that is the language clear what the language means? We have a clarification or doubt what the language means. Says forget about that. Or afilo umdono, beyond even estimation, estimate, assumption. When somebody speaks to a woman on the business of Kiddushin, then he gives her money without talking. It works. When he spoke before on the business of Kiddushin. Why? Even though even though there's no law of language, because he didn't speak. When he gave the money later on, he didn't speak. Before he spoke about the business of Kiddushin. When he gave it, he didn't speak, so there's no language here. No, he didn't say anything. He said, let's get married He said before, let's get married on this date. We're going to have this house. And I'm going to bring such amount of money. And which type of clothes you're going to wear. And which wedding hall. And then he gives her money in front of Eidim. He didn't say, so even though there's no din loshon, there's no language here. Gam Keman, he works also. Gabe Kiddushin. The hobby hall. Loi Ba'ina, we don't need din, we don't need the law. Levata Besosayim, I don't need the law of expressing in your lips. Gabe Kiddushin. Since I don't need to express my Kiddushin in my lips, by Nedorim, by a vow, or by a Nazarite, the vow takes an effect what being expressed in my lips. So then the question, you have a hand, you did lips, and you have part of the lips, so it's a yad, but since it contains the rolls, like a hand could say, hold the whole vessel, so I would say the yad contains the whole thing, so it's part of it. So that's only by what? By Nedorim, there's a din levas v'zotayim. But by Kiddushin, there's no law to express in your lips the Kiddushin. V'arei behold, Aran Kosav the Ran wrote, the Ran Masechet Nedorim Davov Amud Beis says, when the Gemara has a doubt by Kiddushin if there's a yad or not, the Ran wrote there, the Vada Yad Mochiach Ave. When he say and you, he didn't say and you also, but he said and you, for sure, it's a handle. The language is a handle of contains the rest of the language, and it's moichiach. The rest is being proven. The simple meaning means you also. So like as if it's considered yan moichiach. It's a handle which proves the rest. Imken if so. Afilim noimar, even we're going to say, even we're going to say part of a language is not a handle that doesn't contain the rest of the language. But still, Nami Me'ane Kiddushin, still let this work for Kiddushin, not from the law of a handle of the language, that a handle of the language like contains a full language. Forget about that. Should work from another angle. Im Noimar De'ane Kiddushin, Nami Me'ane Kiddushin, let also work for Kiddushin in a different way. The Lechol HaPochos, at least, Ave Kemo Diberim, as if it should be like as if he spoke with her al iski kiddushin, the business of kiddushin before. And if somebody spoke before and right now when he gave, he didn't speak anything, it works. So why didn't it come on that the oichocho goes on the language? Let oichocho, when he says let oichocho work on mitzad umdana, not mitzad language. So even if I don't have any language and you have an umdan, you have an assumption to know what remains in my heart, it works because like Kiddushin, I don't need expression of the lips. That's the point. If I need expression of the lips, so I need a language. So part of language, when it's moichiach, the rest in the language, do I complete the rest of the language to fulfill expressing when your lips, levata b'sotayim? So that's a question. So in the world of, when the Torah says levata b'sotayim, to express in your lips, you need a language. Lips means language. Lips means language. So when I have part of language, question is, it's considered a handle enough to fulfill up the blanks. The rest, if it's moichiach, if it's proven, I can fill up the language. I need language. But by Kiddushin, I don't need language. By Kiddushin, I need what? I need to know what's in my heart. She and me needs to know what we mean. Like we see, if I spoke to you about business of Kiddushin, and then when I gave, I didn't speak at all, workers, we know in our hearts, and it's clear to the witness and everybody else what we mean. So I don't need a language. So also here, what's the shaila if you're shaila Kiddushin or not? And it's on moichiach. If it's on moichiach, I don't have to come onto the language that it means from the law of yad to fulfill yad. I just use the umdana to know what I mean in my heart, and I don't need expression of my lips. Let it work. It's on my heart. That's the kasha of Chemeli. Clear? Good. Yes. Good. But if everybody understands, like here, 1 second, he gave Kiddushin to one girl. He says, I am a Kudeshetli. And then he gives money to the other girl and says, and you. And you, but he didn't say the word, and you also. So instead of working that we have to come onto yad, that part of language contains the rest. Since the situation proved that I want to marry this girl, and Adim understands, and I gave her money, so I don't have to come onto the language can fill the line of yad. Not it's a big thing. Instead of using the parsha of yad, let's use umdana, because I don't need bitus vasayim, I don't need language. Let's say I can read. For example, if I what? No. When I see let's say I come to you like this, and I give you a slap, you understand I'm angry at you? I didn't speak anything. I didn't say I'm angry at you. That's what you see from the action. Also here, you understand from the action. People understand from the action, and that's what it means. When he gave one girl, Agam Kudishasli, and he gave the other girl money, the same amount, pruto, and he says, and you. So forget about the language. You should know from the situation, that's what he means. Instead of saying part of language can fulfill the rest in the world of language. Forget about the words of language. By Kiddushin, you don't need language. By Nazirus, you need Levater Bisfosai, you need language. So then you have a shaila when part of language can then the rest. Can I use umdana, part of language, in an estimation to fulfill the language? But when I have part of language, I don't need language, and I have estimation. So forget about this. If you don't have a shaila, can part of language fulfill or not? Yes, shali kiddushin or ed shali kiddushin. Forget about yes yad or en yad. As long as I have a proof, I know from the umdana what I meant. So good. That's all. Right. So I need a proof. So umdana. But that's exactly the point. One have to come on why the Gemara has a shaila by kiddushin. Yes, yad kiddushin or ain. There is a handle by kiddushin or not a handle by kiddushin. Forget about the question of handle, not handle. Stop. There's a different problem. I mean, it should be from another side, vada kiddushin, because you have umdana the muchach, as the Ram says there. Umdana I have. I have umdana the muchach. So I don't have to come on when I have umdana the muchach. I fill up the language. Umdana muchach itself works. I don't need language. I need umdana to know what's in my heart. And umdana itself should work directly. Doesn't matter. But the question, what does the kiddushin? By Nizirus, the language does the Nizirus. By Kiddushin is the giving of the money, and you know what we meant. So language is to reveal what I meant. So if I need what? It is counterintuitive. And since it's counterintuitive, I can use the intuitives, the counterintuitive to know what I mean in my heart. And since by Kiddushin I don't need language, I don't need levatim I don't need expression of the lips. No, counterintuitive is language. But the Torah says the way to have the counterintuitive is only through language. That's by Neznozir. And if I have counterintuitive without language, it won't work by Nazirus. But by Kiddushin, I don't need language. So language is only a way to get the goal is counterintuitive. And I don't need language. Only a way to show is what he means in his heart. So if you know what I mean in my heart, what have to come on that I can reconstruct language? Part of language can reconstruct the rest of the language through the intuitives. Intuitive itself works by Kiddushin. It's not like in the Zirus. So the whole concept, yes, Yada Kiddushin, Yada Kiddushin is in the world of language. But Kiddushin doesn't need language. Kiddushin needs an Maisakinyan, needs an act of giving money. She should know what I'm giving it for. So if you have counterintuitive to know what I mean, so that's enough. I don't have to come to the question is, I have a part of language. Can part of language construct in the word of language? Can part of language can fulfill Yeshad Kiddushin or Enyan Kiddushin? Forget about Yeshad or Enyan. If I have, like the Ran says, in this case, I have Moichiach, I have Umdan of Mochach, I know this counterintuitive, my intuition can tell you what it means. That's enough. Because I don't need language by Kiddushin. The question is the answer. No. What? You don't believe her. I don't believe her. No. I don't believe her. Why not? Why not? If I I'm answering you. If I get angry and I try to give you a slap and you move your head not to be slapped. He says, no, you moved here because it was a fly. I believe you. Come on. Everybody understands that you're not saying the truth. If it's the nemuchach, I followed the nemuchach. Then you say stories, okay? Yes.
Well, Yitzchak.
That's relation to people. But I'm talking about the world of language. No, doesn't no.
Said the words, but he said.
No, it's not my subject here. I'll tell you why. Yes, if the language means the emotions explains the language, so I follow emotions because I don't need language. So the emotion should make the right. So the emotion should make the difference according to the question. Let's see the answer.
Well,
This
Yitzchak.
is only the question. Don't forget, yes.
Well, Yitzchak.
Yes.
So, if I understand the Sugya right, the Gemara has a question. Does Yati Kiddushin work, yes or no? And what does the Gemara do? Brings this case to prove something apparently, either yes or no. But it sounds like it's not the right proof to bring because this is like a giant can of worms or whatever. Like we say now it's muhrach that there is an umdada there. What do we mean by that? That therefore there is no yad in Kiddushin?
No.
I want to use the negative.
No. There's a fact that the Ran says that the case there you have under the muhrach. The question there is, can through under the muhrach and part of language can I construct a language?
Then what?
Stop. You understand this? When I say a yad of language, I don't have a full language. Can I reconstruct the whole language through a yad or not? That's the question there.
But the point is, what kind of proof is this? We are bringing a case, and what comes out at the moment because of the run is that it's muhrach that this was active.
Still, even though it's muhrach, but I need language. The suffering of the Gemara is why it's with the Gemara. We didn't say the Gemara's proof. We didn't bring the Gemara's proof.
What case is this? I thought the case is to prove that there's a yad.
No, that's not a proof. It's a case. The Gemara says if somebody gives a woman money, and he gives her friend money, and he says, "And you." He's saying, "You also." That. You say Vietnami, and that situation is umdad and mucha. That's what I meant. You also get married to me, but I didn't say in the language. The question is by Kiddushin, there's a concept to reconstruct part of language to a full language. Yad or en yad. That's a question. No, just this. That's the case. The case, and we have a question. What's the law in the case? That the definition of that case, you have under the mucha. And now the question is, in the world of language, there is a concept to construct part of language from part of language the full language. Yeah, the Gemara there answers what the proof yes or no. That's not our subject matter. The question is that why the Gemara speaks about to reconstruct to make a mekudeshes by reconstructing language. And the Gemara has a doubt, and the question, no, let it be Vanai Mikudeshet, not from the side of language, from the side, because I don't need language. That's only by Nosig and Adorim I need Levat this sign. But by Kiddushin, I just do the Maise. And as long as you know what I did my Maise, it should work. So it should work. Simple. It's a very strong question. You're mixing boxes. You're mixing the boxes of language, which is Nosig and Azirus, to the world of Kiddushin, which has nothing to do with language.
They don't need Yavim Kiddushin.
So, but the Gemara does say yes. So we want to know what's the pshat. So let's see what the Gemara Chaim Alevi answers. V'tiretz, yes.
You're saying that in Kiddushin the expression is enough. He can say.
Also yes. I don't need language. That's our question on the table. Since the Gemara has a doubt, there's yad or not. Must be that somehow we need language. We know no only by neder and nozer need levata b'sosai. So what's the mixing box? Is the answer, but the question what's the answer? Find it. Let's careful. My bless his memory. My Rebbe bless his memory. The merit of his memory should protect us. The mizeh muchach from this Gemara, from the fact that Gemara has a doubt of Yad by Kiddushin, from this proven, the min loshon shel Kiddushin, from the lingua of Kiddushin, lo avdina, we don't make anan umdono. We don't lo avdina anan, we don't make umdono estimation. Those tricky words, but it contains everything. Again, from this proven, from mizeh muchach, the min loshon shel Kiddushin, from the language of Kiddushin, lo avdina anan umdono, we don't make estimation. The question was, one second, the question was, forget about the language, we have an umdana. The answer is, when I'm in the world of language, I cannot transfer to umdana.
Like a question, and we see from this equation that it's not actually trying to get right. You can't prove from the actual word, you can take the word and apply to the now because
That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, one second, listen what he says. He's saying, from language of Kiddushin, we cannot make umdana. What does that mean? If I want to use the avenue of umdana, I can marry a woman. I give her money, I do a Maseches Kiddushin. And I know it's a Maseches Kiddushin now. I use umdana, it's okay. Which means the husband, is using umdana to conduct or to define the action that he's giving money. So he's giving a kesef. I know it's a Kiddushin kesef because he used it. I created umdana. It was the husband created umdana because after he's speaking about Kiddushin, afterwards he gave her money without speaking. But since I gave her right after the business of Kiddushin, being busy in Kiddushin, so I created a situation. I created the umdana that will conduct, will define the Maaseh Nesin of Kesef. That is Nesin of Kesef Kiddushin. So Maaseh Kiddushin, that's okay. But when we need to conduct that, we need to draw out this umdana, because I use language. I started to give you my goal of my heart through language. So from when I use language, you, the Beis cannot make this woman married through umdana, because now the avenue I use. That's what he's saying.
like this.
Yes.
I mean, the guy says to a guy sends his father every day. He's giving him money. He has so Balabait says,
Sounds familiar. No, it's a joke. Yeah.
and he says, and when he comes to his father, he says, "Please give me money. Please give me money." One day he says, "Please give me money." They give him the money. That's his high yesterday.
No good.
When you say Loshon, with the Loshon Ichos Loshon, there's a Chaim Alevi. We don't look at umdana. We don't look all the 73% of how.
We don't make umdana if you use lashon.
But the answer is, even if you have 73%,
That's your world. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If my language is clear, and I'm not so sure clear, so I don't think what you said. No, if I say language,
the opposite. So then I say, no, I don't look at umdana.
it's a question. It's a question. A shaila. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. Because he's talking about unclear language. You talk about the clear language. I said, I got Kodesh Sli, and I said, what do you say? So he said, from the tone and from the screaming, you understand, I don't really mean it. Okay, it's a question. I follow what I said, I follow my emotions and the height of the voice, the situation. It's a question. Here, I'll tell you, there's a different story. There, the umdana is a contradiction to the full language. Here, we have language, we have umdana both aiming at the same thing. We're just saying when I use the avenue of a language, I cannot jump and make on my own. The basin we cannot make in the avenue of umdana to make the Kiddushin. That's what he's saying. You're asking a different question. When I have full language and umdana against, what's the law? It's a different shaila. Okay? I don't know what's the law. You have to check it out. I don't know.
You, maybe and you, like a question. Obvious that she wants to be married. It's not clear the last, and you, like,
Yes. Yes. Shh.
No matter.
There's no bitul for sign. Yes. Right. And umdana works too.
Actually don't matter at all. If you can pick up the undena of the dot from the tone, then you can learn something from the word. It's not the word, it's the tone of the word you can learn.
Yeah, but when I use words, I cannot use umdana. I basically cannot draw out their own umdanas, even though it's clear. Because you're using words, so you're in pasha of words. That's what he says. He has to prove it. 1 second. And he's explaining why. Although Kiddushin doesn't need language, so why when I use language, I cannot use umdana? He's going to explain why. He's going to explain without this explanation of Chaim Halevi, which is a preface for the whole Masechet Kiddushin. This is what we learn right now in a few seconds. Yes.
Don't use the orange wheel with that, right?
Correct. I'm using the words. Let the word work for themselves. Who says it don't matter? That's what Shlomo said. Who said?
In tone like that, and he's giving her the money. Who thinks she's not leisure?
I don't know. You said that. I don't know what's the law. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We talking about something else. Our subject is when I have umdana and I have language. Can I transfer, if the language is not so clear, can I transfer follow umdana? Since I don't need language, the I should transfer to it. It says no. Although you don't need language, but when you use language, I basically cannot make their own umdana. Why? You explain a second. Why not? Since if the language doesn't mean anything, so why cannot transfer? Language is the way to prove my heart. So why cannot transfer? So wait another few minutes to understand why. To explain the holy words of Rabbi Chaim Halevi, he's explaining a very important point. The Kiddushin ba'in and amira. By Kiddushin, you need a statement, not bitus vasayin. You need amira, you need a statement. Migzeras hakosuv, from the decree of the Torah, the chiyikach, that you should take this girl. Says, you will take and she cannot take you. The ba'inam we need from that word kiika that he will take. No sanu v'amahu. He needs to give and he needs to speak. But you don't need speaking, but the speaking has to come through him, or the umdan has to come through him. An explanation of this decree of the Torah, who it is. The Gabi Kiddushin by Kiddushin that I need the knowledge or the agreement of the husband isn't only mishum din kin. It's not only because the law of an acquisition. Like we need by every you need das, you need the knowledge of the buyer and seller, in order to make the kinyan acquisition take effect. So here by Kiddushin, I need the husband's das, not only because it's an acquisition, but when I need my das, because you need the buyer and the seller's das to make the acquisition. No, here's something extra. There's 2 layers. The third is that we need an extra. Or rather, milvad din das, besides the law of knowledge, lasso is kinyan to make an acquisition. Like any other acquisition. The Bain and Das, the Kavonas Kohen, I need the knowledge and intention of the buyer. Bain and Bazel, we need here the Atod the Baal, we need here extra the knowledge of the husband. In order to perform, make the action of taking, he needs to take her. Because man, in all time, the Lekadite, I don't have his intention, is in his das, and Kiddushin, I don't have an act of Kiddushin. The Kemoshe Nevair Lekamon, I'm going to explain later on, Be'ezer Hashem Yisborach, Ian Zebarichus, the subject in length. So in 1 second, what is he saying? And this is the answer to what we said. Why not? Why I cannot make from a language umdana? Since even language doesn't mean language. It's not. I don't need levata b'sosayim. I just need to know through the language that I have my agreement. I have my das. So if I know my das through not through language, forget about the language. The answer is no. In Kiddushin, besides das of kinyan, which that can come through umdana, there's a din of amira. The Torah says the man has to take the woman, which means the man has to do the action of giving of the money. And how he does it, it's not enough that he gave her money. He has to give her money for Kiddushin. So it has to come through him. So he needs to reveal that the money and the revelation has to come through him. That the money he gave is for the sake of Kiddushin. So he needs, so normally you do it through Amira, through speaking. You can have through Umdana too. But he needs to create Umdana. But, because he has to give it after the Umdana. He spoke to her about Kiddushin. Getting married and he gives someone who's not speaking. Since he gave it after he spoke, he created Umdana in this situation. Says, okay. Or he can say. So when he speaks, it's not only to reveal his heart. The speaking is not only to reveal his heart, that we have das, that we have his mind, we have, which we have the situation around. The giving of the money is the action of the acquisition. In order for the acquisition, you need to know that both parties agree to what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They have to know and have the intention to do what they do in order to the law of buying take an effect. As it be a cut. Before it wasn't bought, now it's been bought. Now she's married. You cannot change it. That means din chalois, the laws that take effect. There's a done deal. He can't transfer. He can't change. That's called acquisition. So you need to have the knowledge that he knows that he has the acknowledgement. I would say das here means acknowledgement. He has to have to know of. If I know that he knows of, it's okay. But Kiddush not enough that he knows it or he has the intention of it. He needs to conduct it for the sake of that. He needs to reveal his das. He has to make sure that his das is there in order to make the kinyan a kinyan. It has to come through him. So if he uses one avenue that comes through him, who is I basing, can make another avenue. Because if we make the other avenue, it's not him. He needs to make it. Again. Since I need him to make the revelation of his acknowledgement, so therefore, if he only speaks A, and it's not a good language, only part of language, and you want to use now you, who's you? The Beis wants to use umdana by understanding the situation, so it's us, not him. And by Kiddushin, it's not enough just to know that he knows about it. He needs to create, to come through him, the creation. And if it didn't come through him direction, rather we understand the situation ourselves, we are making it, not him, so it doesn't work. And he brings a proof to that. Okay, we'll stop here. That's the first part. I hope you understood what I said. Go over it. Continue on. We should print the ritva. יש פה ריטבו, נפוב. כמו שכוס הריטבו, next page, תראה למעלה בעמוד השני, כמו שכוס הריטבו בקידוש נבוא בעמוד א'.